All right, we back. We are back. Happy Monday.
Yes, another glorious Monday. How y'all doing?
All right, man. These Mondays are getting more and more more active. Last Monday, crazy. This Monday,
Yes.
a lot of news, a lot to talk about.
A ton.
Everybody take a deep breath.
Never a dull moment.
This has been an exciting 2 weeks.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Oh boy. We here? Yep, we live. All right, bet.
Let's go.
Mic check. All right. We got a special guest that's going to be joining us later on in the show, but there's a lot to talk about. First and foremost, shout out to everybody that was at the mastermind in Atlanta.
Yes,
that was amazing. That was one of the ones. So much information when it comes to trading and investing. AI networking was on 1,000. That's one of the ones, man. That was tremendously undervalued. That's from that Black Friday sale. So that's tremendously undervalued for sure. So yeah, that was one of the ones, man. You know, when it comes to how much information, man, tremendously undervalued. Man, if you missed it, don't miss it again. That's all I gotta say.
I think it was everybody's best presentation. If we're gonna be honest, Troy had 90 slides. I went into all my prompts. We'll talk about our guest later, but he killed it on AI and AI frameworks. And
yeah, that was great. I got to sit down and just be like a spectator during the AI piece. So I was taking notes. When you was up there, I was taking notes. It's just one of those things, like when you hear information and it's good information, it's just advantageous. It's like you just start writing down, like, hold on, let me type that down. And then watching everybody do it, like everybody had their iPad, they had their notepad, they was recording, they didn't want to miss anything. Shout out to everybody that was in the building. It was definitely a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, so you'll probably be seeing some Instagram clips or whatever, but man, that was the information that was provided, and that was just invaluable.
Yep.
Yeah, at least $100,000 worth of information. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a great episode. This week on Blackout, we got our guy Roland Martin joining. Very timely conversation.
Time to have some conversations.
I know what y'all want to ask.
Right to it. And this week on Thursday, following up on our series, the live series that we've been doing. This will be a YouTube live at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to go over how to boost your credit score quickly. The quickest ways to boost your credit score. Shonda Martin.
Okay.
Last year we did an episode with her, over 400,000 views.
Absolutely. So, she's incredible.
One of the ones. So 9:00 Eastern Standard Time on Earning Leisure YouTube, how to boost your credit score quickly.
Yeah. And February is that month. I know everybody got their W-2s. Everybody's trying to file for their tax return. Before you use any of that money, let's get our affairs in order. Make sure our credit's straight. Make sure we have savings. Make sure we have a budget. Make sure we have a plan. Before we do anything, let's make sure we have a plan.
All right, let's get into it. Ian, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, Stock Club call will be tonight, 9 p.m. Central. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation that we have from this weekend, go over some prompting information so you can learn how to invest in the market. I want to give a quick notice before we start for everyone who's asking if they should sell off their portfolio because Elon is going to steal all my personal data. Biggest mistake you're making in your life. Just like that tariff war got. Shout to Presidente Sheinbaum and Senior Trump for working out their affairs. And if you want to get rich, you have to. If you got to work it out. That's a good lesson. Sometimes you have to appreciate what you have, the trade agreement, and work things out.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go to war, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, that's the art of war. Don't go to war. Like sometimes you don't have the leverage, and you got to figure this thing out.
For sure. And if you want to get rich from the market and want to know where to get in, where to get out, I told you about the drop in Nvidia before the DeepSeek information came out, and that what Bitcoin was going to go to ianinvest.com, join the Red Panda Stock Club. Over 95 prices are in for this month. Gem of the day, trading secrets, how to trade the futures market, go to ianinvest.com if you want to get rich from investing in the market.
Hey, you forgot something, man.
Oh,
come on. Don't make me do it.
No. And my baby, shout out to Xander, his birthday is on Friday. My baby's going to be 10. I love you so much. You mean the world to me. You've been my greatest muse and greatest inspiration. I can't wait to have a blast with you this weekend. Go to bed. Don't let mom come in and see that you on YouTube right now. But I love you dearly. You mean everything to me.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Xander.
birthday to Xander.
My dad's birthday's on Thursday too. So happy birthday.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And he watching. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to him. 75th birthday.
Oh man, we got
amazing.
You got the party?
Do something.
We gotta celebrate.
Gotta celebrate
Sure.
that.
Gotta celebrate
every year you gotta
Gotta
celebrate for sure.
every year.
That's a fact.
For sure.
75, one of them numbers, man.
Almost 80. So yeah, happy birthday. Aquarius season. You know, Aquarius and Pisces is like family. February. It's all February love.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody that I ever met that was Aquarius has been good people. I never really met bad Aquarius. So Aquarius has always been good energy, good people, good vibes.
Yeah.
I can't say the same thing about.
No, go ahead. I'm with you. I'm gonna back you up.
Put in chat.
Shout out to Justin the boy.
Put in chat.
What zodiac sign?
What do you have problems with? A Scorpio?
What's the most toxic sign? Put in chat.
They always say Scorpio. Who you going with?
I'll go with the consensus of Scorpio.
Okay.
Put in chat.
What you
got? January Capricorns. Just January.
Chill, my son a January Capricorn, man.
Shout out to Chris.
I know why you said that. This guy. Oh man, I've been here for a while, folks. I've been here for a while. Look, do your own research. In all walks of life, do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on us again and showed us the actual facts from doing research, right? What the outcome was. Them portfolios, those brokerage accounts were looking crazy, man. I was impressed. I was humbled by it. So shout out to y'all. And of course, shout out to Queen B. Finally,
for sure,
she got her album of the year last night. And of course, shout out to Kendrick for five Grammys for that song that was ringing off last year. Two hands.
When Dr. Dre and Lucian, I said, yo.
The patty cake 5. That's crazy.
What?
So we're gonna get into it. There's a lot to talk about with the first. Before we're gonna talk about the tariffs for sure, but before we start, can we talk about the truth about DeepSeek situation?
Let's talk about it.
And what do you think about the situation since last week?
Yeah, since last week, it felt like a documentary worth of information has come out. From what I was told, they have 40,000 H100s, not 50, but still a significant spend.
Mm-hmm.
The $6 million number that's been floating around, to my journalists, I love you all, but I think everyone needs to start doing better reporting and not just copying what you heard off of a blog. That was for the last round of testing. My question is, hypothetically and allegedly, how did they get 40,000 H100s into China for this company? All the more reason when people kept being like, DeepSeek's going to kill Nvidia. If I'm selling to the competitor, allegedly, and I'm selling to everyone in the States, how am I going to lose? Talk about true diversification. And I find it really interesting that as this war is heated up, that Sam Altman dropped 03 mini high to combat it, but it being open sourced, everything the DeepSeek is doing right now to beat OpenAI was the original plan that they had when him and Elon were teamed up. Nonprofit, open source, open data. You're seeing the reasoning and the breakdown of why. Sometimes, and I don't think Sam is probably a perfect person, and neither is Elon, but one day we have to talk about karma when you don't do good in your business relationships, how your competitors will use your advantage that you once had against you. So I think it's fascinating that he screwed Elon out of OpenAI, and now his biggest threat is the weapon that he created with Elon.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I think one of the the regulations that were put in place for the semiconductor space was that you can't sell to China. And then they started doing hey, we'll give them modified. And then it was like, oh, we can't give them modified. Yeah. So maybe they got in between some of that litigation, right? But we spoke about this over the weekend, right? The one thing that we talk about, the money for the H1, the Hopper, that's questionable, right? That's a big spend. But some of the information that wasn't spoken about was the energy cost, right? Like how much energy did it take for them to actually get this to run at the level it's running? The fact that it's open source by definition means that everyone can use it, anybody can modify it, and anyone can distribute it for free. Now, if you leave something open source, that just to me means that more people will use it. So if more people are going to,
a great strategy.
More people use it, then you're going to need more energy, right? So if you need more energy, that means you're going to need more GPUs, right? Because you have to have your actual open source running at a high level.
Yep.
That means spend. So if you need more GPUs, then you're going to need more infrastructure to house those GPUs. And so like you start thinking like, wait, what are they really saying, right? At some point, they're using the hoppers, but at some point, yes, Blackwell will pass that and Rubin will pass that, and then it'll be something. So they'll have to spend at some point, right? If they haven't spent already. So just be mindful, like when you hear things and you see, like obviously the market took a huge hit and semi space took a hit and energy space took a hit. Some of them have not rebounded, but had a nice little bounce back up.
Yep.
Look at the keywords and take a deeper dive into what's actually being said, right? Can this kill the space? No, probably not. Is it a more efficient way to do business? We'll have to see, right? One thing that we know is that when it comes to numbers and being upfront with numbers and providing all the data and the information, they haven't done that. We know that.
China isn't the most revealing when it comes to the information that you may need. But the international war, this is the new arms race for sure. Whoever dominates this space is going to have a 10 or 20-year run in the market. So the competition is real. Just the spend was not accurate. And also, it's a lot easier to build a model if you have 2 years to look and copy. I know some of y'all tried that in your business. It didn't work. I saw one of y'all creep out the little ground like Thriller. We're going right back in the ground right after Black History Month. I'm gonna let you live because this is what Dr. King dreamed of. But when March come,
what baby say? What baby face say? All right, go do that.
Yeah, go do that.
Go do that. Go do that.
What?
And you can't be pro ESG and pro AI and chip. No. They conflict. We told you long ago that ESG thing was some BS. Exxon was at the top of the.
We're gonna need more than ever. If we're gonna win this race, which is like you said, that's the goal. And I think that's a bipartisan like mission, right? Like we have to win this race.
Have to.
If we're going to need more power.
What are 6 DeepSeek-proof stocks to invest in if someone is concerned about an AI chip crash?
This is a great question. And I want to be clear, DeepSeek is a threat, but it's not the biggest threat to our market by a long shot. But 3 that I love, Visa, for sure. Go look at their stock.
I got that.
Look at American Express, great minds think alike. American Express, 2nd. MasterCard, 3rd. Fair Isaac Corporation, so FICO will be 4th. Meta, I will put at 5th. And then McDonald's would be the 6th company that I would consider would never be affected. So Visa, American Express, MasterCard, Meta, FICO, and McDonald's. It doesn't matter what DeepSeek creates or however they take your intellectual property. The interesting part even about DeepSeek, like if you ran what is the sourcing for it, most of it was open AI modeling. Mm-hmm. It would tell you that in the prompt, which is crazy as hell.
I'm gonna add 2.
For sure.
So we'll just make it 8 because I think Visa is a strong one. In fact,
for sure, the leader.
I put Visa in inside the portfolio probably in April and was talking about just the stranglehold that they had on this space. Like obviously they have competitors, but just even their partnerships. I know they just announced something with Elon that they're going to be doing on Twitter. Visa's there, but I think especially when we're talking about data, when I hear that coming from a foreign entity, I always think cybersecurity. Right. So CrowdStrike #1 would be in that list for me for sure. Right.
Yeah.
And in terms of cybersecurity, Palo Alto would be in there as well. Those two inside that space of like, hey, if DeepSeek is able to succeed or it's able to crack some of the market, there's going to be some security definitely that's going to be put in its way and as a barrier and as a protection. I think those type of companies make sense. Cloudflare is another one. I know that's like a sleeper, but Cloudflare would be another one of those two.
On a side note, if you quit coming to events, trying to shake Rashad hand, coughing in his face, trying to give him COVID-22. Rude. Yo, I just got the bird flu, but I really
I'm a little under the weather, but
stop.
I appreciate that. Sweaty palms too.
The love, but come on, please. Save the influenza. But a great note on investing is that you have to, and I said this to Stock Club last night, you have to build a portfolio when you're looking at the SWOT analysis, start with all the threats that are there. Your portfolio has to be able to sustain any threat that is on the market. So geopolitical risk, bad leadership inside of the country, country doing better, technological advancements in other countries, degradation of innovation from said company that you like to invest in. Write all the threats, and then like McDonald's, no matter if DeepSeek destroys OpenAI, McDonald's is still going to be okay. Visa's still going to print cash hand over hand and look at the profit margin. Probably could add Stryker to that list too if you wanted to, but you need bomb-proof stocks to put in your portfolio, most of which are in Red Panda Stock Club. Once again, go to ininvest.com if you want to get it back from investing in the market and you don't want to have to guess and go through 40 hours of material of what to buy. So,
all right, now let's talk about Nvidia. They got their earnings coming up soon. Do they need to blow out earnings expectations to save the stock market?
Circle your calendars, February 26th. That's the date.
If we're going to be very honest, will it help? Yes. But I think more importantly, I think the political fears and tensions need to ease. Trump been going crazy with that executive order pen. And the biggest lesson here is that no market likes instability. So when you're saying, hey, I'm going to put tariffs on India and China and Singapore and every country on earth, and then ultimately those costs are going to get passed on to us, that needs to ease. We need to understand what interest rates are going to do and what's really going to happen. So when you have a safe and non-volatile environment, that is what is going to push the stock market higher. I think waiting for Nvidia to save the day, like how Rob Pelinka think Luka is going to do for LA, is a mistake. So
I think they're going to have a great quarter. It's just a matter of what people determine what great is, right? Like if we see margins that are 60%, technically that's down from 87% from last quarter. Is that great anymore? So that'll be interesting. Blackwell is supposed to be reporting inside of this quarter, so we'll see some of the sales from there. The increase spend from what Meta has said, from what Amazon has said, from what Microsoft said, I'm sure is going to help it. And all these AI prompts, right? DeepSeek or OpenAI, again, it speaks to the business that Nvidia has. When they ask which GPUs that they're using, is very candid. Who they're using, right? They're telling you Nvidia. But I mean, if you look at last week, if we watched Jensen's travel, he made a stop to 1600 Pennsylvania.
Nobody bigger than the program.
He made a stop.
My boy, you sold it over and you went to Singapore through a third party. Come have a conversation.
So he, obviously the tariffs go into effect at I think midnight tonight. Jensen made the trip to the White House last week to have a conversation with Trump. The conversation hasn't been released, so the excerpts of what had happened during the conversation. But I mean, we've seen what has happened to every other CEO who's visited. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the thing about it, like you said, I mean, it's not really so much of if they're going to outperform expectations as if the market is happy with that level of outperformance. So they set the bar very high, and there's nowhere to go but disappointment. So it's like LeBron. Like, I mean, when you're excellent for so long, you only can go down as far as public opinion is concerned. So Drake is another one. So the market is not really reacting off of numbers. It's more sentiment.
It's true.
And Tesla was negative and they went up. So Nvidia could still be positive and still go down.
For sure.
And if they go down, then there's going to be a domino effect for the whole industry. So
top and bottom line for Tesla.
We'll see. But just be prepared that just because they have what you think is good earnings doesn't necessarily mean that that'll be so just be careful.
Just wait till after earnings for sure.
Speaking of the 26th of February, I forgot to mention, but February 27th.
Talk about
it. Talk about it.
Is my actual birthday.
It's his birthday, ladies and gentlemen.
Pisces.
Yes.
So every year for the birthday, do something crazy. Last year was Prince and Mink's legendary party.
What a time.
That was pretty historic.
Time to be alive.
That was a pretty historic vibe. And for the last 3 years, we've been playing Carnegie Hall, and
for sure.
2 years ago was on my birthday. So this year is actually on my birthday again. Carnegie Hall. If you're not familiar when I say we play Carnegie Hall, so Robert Smith. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not, but
do tell. Please elaborate on this gentleman you speak of.
He's a pretty wealthy guy, man. $8 billion, I think his net worth is. One of the richest black people in world history. Good friend of ours, great guy. And he's on the board of a Carnegie Hall. So every February he does an event, financial literacy business event, and then they have a legendary rapper that, because if you don't know, Carnegie Hall is the opera house where they do like live musicals. So and then they play with a live band. So 2 years ago was Busta Rhymes. Mm-hmm. He played with a live band. Last year it was Rick Ross. He played with a live band. Like I said, we come in and we interview people. So we interviewed Robert Smith one year. We interviewed Wes Moore. We interviewed like great people.
Judge.
So this year, the lineup is Robert Smith. He'll be there. We will be there. CEO of Louis Vuitton will be in the building. And as far as musical performances, we got none other than one of the greatest of all time, the God Rakim.
It's the original God MC.
Yes.
For real.
For all you hip hop
players years ahead.
Rakim will be performing with a live orchestra. Man, paid in full. Literally.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Literally paid in full.
With the BBSs.
Probably have some more. So if you want tickets, but this is a situation where you gotta wear a tuxedo. This is like a tuxedo gown type vibe. This is like black. This that black excellence. Like you're gonna see Rich Lou Dennis, all of it. Like this is that.
They all in the building for this.
It's that black excellence vibe. Go to carnegiehall.org/power network. And there is a discount code. Discount code is EYL 53298. Not sure how they came with that number.
I was just thinking the same.
53298.
EYL 53298. carnegiehall.org/power network. February 27th. All the movers and shakers will be in the building. Tuxedos on. It's my birthday. We're probably gonna do something afterwards as well.
So separate. Don't even ask about that.
That's invite.
Don't even ask.
Invite only.
And I don't know, so don't ask.
Invite only. Don't tell a slouch.
Please.
If you get the invite,
that's a bar. I like that. I like that.
That invite's for you. It's not transferable.
Don't tell us.
Yeah.
The invite's not transferable.
Please.
Can my guy go instead of me? Is crazy.
Legendary.
Crazy.
If you're gonna bring somebody, at least bring a female. Don't bring the whole crew.
Last year was a movie though. I don't know why you didn't put up the documentary footage, but ooh, what a time.
Preferably.
Yeah. We're gonna do something again this year. You'll be getting the special invitation in the golden package that self-destructs after you open it. It's like Mission Impossible.
Preferably.
It's like Mission Impossible. This message will self-destruct after reading. All right.
Yeah, so meet us there.
Carnegie Hall. Shout out to Robert Smith, man. For sure.
And shout out to Lou. Lou, what's going on?
Shout out to Rakim too. He got a new financial literacy platform that he just launched.
That's a fact.
Shout out to Rakim.
Yeah. It's to help artists. It's called Notes. So we'll be talking more about that. Yeah.
Shout out to Rakim. Okay, so now let's get into the moment of the day. The tariff war that has been launched. First it's important to understand, I think, what tariffs are. because a lot of times people think that it's like, okay, if you put 25% tariffs on Mexico, then Mexican government or Mexican companies have to pay that tariff to send. So what happens is that like a company like Walmart, right, who gets a lot of products from China for sure. So when they get products from China, now they'll have to pay that 10% to import board games made in China, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they were spending $10 million on board games made from China, shipped to their warehouse, now they would have to pay 11 million. They would have to pay $11 million because you have to have $1 million surplus, which is 10%, and China got hit with the 10%. So they would pay 11 million instead of 10 million, right? So what happens is that how it affects everyday Americans is that they would increase the price. They're not going to take a loss on their profit margins, right? So if the board games was now $50, then they would increase it, whatever they needed to increase it to make sure they're still making a profit margin. So 50 might go to $55, right? To stay in line with that 10% that they have to pay. So now you pay $5 for every board game instead of more than the $50 that you would have paid. And that's true for lumber coming from Canada. That's true from avocados coming from Mexico. That's true from technology coming from China, all of the above.
Cars, all that.
And then there's retaliatory tariffs that these countries said that they would levy against American products. But the problem is that American is a consumer-based land where we import a lot of stuff. Right? We don't really necessarily make a lot of stuff, even chips. Like we import a lot of the technology, we import a lot of the consumer goods, we import, if you look at fashion, sneakers, all shoe wear, all that stuff is imported. So that is harmful as far as that. We would have to like redesign our economy to start making things here in America as opposed to shipping it. But it affects these other countries because what also happens is that they will probably start to order less of something. So that would hurt the local businesses in those particular countries. So it's been said that it actually could send Canada and Mexico into a recession for sure. So on news of that, the stock market dropped pretty drastically overnight. And it was a lot of information about how, you know, tariffs don't really work historically. The last time we had a real massive tariff plan, the country went into a great recession, the Great Depression. And then after that, when the country started booming, that was when you hear this term free trade. That's when America started the free trade, right? Where they realized that it doesn't work to tax other countries. We have to do free trade and bring the products in. And that's actually what made the economy the biggest economy in the world. But they're saying that it's going too far now and that they have to, and then this fentanyl thing is interesting because usually if tariffs is because of economic situations or people feel like that, you know, usually it's not because of illegal drugs. But Trump has made a major push on immigration, illegal immigration, and fentanyl. So, long story short, he announced 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and 10% tariffs on China.
In addition to the 10% that he put the last time.
To start tomorrow, Tuesday. And market reacted negatively, but it kind of rebounded a little bit, especially when news broke that for Mexico, it would be a 30-day extension on this because the president of Mexico agreed to send 10,000 troops to the border immediately to try to carve the smuggling of fentanyl, amongst other things. So now it becomes a situation where, because he said like this will cause some short-term pain, but it's going to be long-term. It's going to be good for the country. So is this a situation of bad governance as far as starting wars with our allies, or is it a situation of great deal making and chicken, right? The winner of the game of chicken is the person who has the strongest nerves and the biggest gun, right? Like if you pull out a pistol and I got a bazooka, 9 times out of 10, the bazooka's going to win. So you play bully ball with Mexico and Canada. China's might be a little tougher, but it's still some level of negotiation. It leaves some level of negotiation if you can actually think, if they think that you're serious about something, then we have to sit at a table and try to figure this thing out.
Is it an issue of bad governance? I'll go to Milton Friedman's quote. If we're in a boat together and I shoot into the bottom of the boat with tariffs, would it be smart for the other countries to retaliate and then shoot in the boat again to add in terms of retaliation? We all end up losing and drowning together. I've never sat in the president's seat, of course, so I don't know how stressful that job could be. But if you look historically, like you said, it's never worked out. I think sometimes there's a part of business that is dog eat dog, very malicious, very grimy. The higher you ascend, though, you have to find a way to say, hey, this isn't good for either country. And I think Presidente Scheinbaum extended an offer to say, hey, I'm going to send some people to the border because we don't want to go out to all-out war. The Mexican peso, the value dropped, the value of the Canadian dollar dropped as well. But at the highest level, how real business is done is saying, hey, this is going to end badly for both of us. What can we do to mitigate this? And what concessions can I make that you need on my end? And what concessions can you make so no one suffers? When we get into this jousting between countries and nations and leaderships, it hurts our country really bad. And a lot of short-term decision-making hurts us long-term. Going back to the post you guys made a couple of weeks ago, like Chicago selling out that parking garage for a short-term need for the city. And now another country is making billions off of that. So I pray that they find a way to come to a resolution so that we can get along, because China is the real enemy or bully that we have to worry about.
Yeah, and I think the direct people who are going to be affected is the American people.
For sure, the consumer.
You're talking about prices going up. You're talking about groceries. You're talking about, they said the average car, obviously, because we import a lot of car. Average car price is going to go up by $3,000 to $5,000. Electronics for sure are going to go up in price. People are looking at Best Buy stock as a company that, like, they may take the toughest hit because a lot of their stuff comes from overseas.
Demolished.
The toy market, so you're talking about Target and all these consumer discretionary stores, 85% of the toys that come in America are made in China. So, like you said, these companies are going to say, hey, we'll just pay this. They're just going to raise the prices, and obviously the American population is going to have to take those prices. So the first thing is like, yeah, we'll make more stuff here. Well, it's going to cost you more to make more stuff here. And then if they think people are making domestic products and they have no international barriers, they're going to say, all right, well, if we have no competition, then we can just price gauge. We'll make it to a price where we think that it should be. There is no competition come from anywhere else, which hurts. On the opposite end is like, if you're looking at it from the Fed standpoint, if we see people watch prices go up and they stop spending, well, those are indications that, hey, if people are slowing down on spending, can we bring down inflation? Right? So like there's a big game to play, but it ultimately comes down to a leverage situation, right? Who can withstand this longer? When you look at the GDP for Mexico, 35% of its GDP comes from exports from the US.
Mm-hmm.
How long can you withstand going to war with them? You can't. Like, that's nearly half of your gross domestic is coming from the US. Canada, 22% of their GDP comes from US exports. So you're talking about a quarter of whatever the country brings in, a quarter of it is coming from the US in terms of exports.
Yep.
On the inverse, 1% of the GDP for the United States comes from Mexico, and 1.5% from Canada. So if we're going to play this like the long game, I know the president's saying, hey, it's going to be some short-term pain, but eventually we'll get to this point where, hey, we're now back in the position where we need to be, where we're not getting quote unquote bullied. It's dangerous, right? Because how long countries can do this, but the individual person, like, you're putting a lot of things in jeopardy for the everyday person.
Well, here's the shot. We thinking the same thing. Go ahead.
It's either two ways how this is going to play out. Either the tariffs go through and it's probably going to be harmful, or he's negotiating and it's going to be helpful because he's going to be able to get what he wants. So,
agree.
I mean, Trump, he's not stupid. You don't get to this level of life without being intelligent. Now, you can say I'm a MAGA supporter if you want to, but I'm just a rational person. I don't think that he's stupid. That's just my opinion. And
is he not to cut you off, but is he too short-sighted and too transactional to not think about what will happen in 3 or 4 years?
Here's what I think he's doing. I think that he's bullying his way to get what he wants.
I agree.
There's a few ways to get what you want in life. There's a diplomatic way to go about it, and then there's a bully way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
The quickest way to get what you want in life is a bully way, but that usually leads to problems later on.
For sure.
Like, if I want something out of you, I could have a conversation, and we can come to an understanding, or I could beat you to a pulp and take the money out of your pocket. I can get it that way, but 6 months down the line, you're gonna remember this, right? And when
6 years,
10, however long it takes,
years, your son might remember whatever. Like, I publicly humiliated you.
Yep.
There's going to be some level of repercussions for that.
I don't
think he cares about that though, but I think that he cares about getting what he wants right now in this moment. Yeah. And you can't argue with. I mean, you can't argue with it. He wanted to have more fights for fentanyl, and they get 10,000 troops. Now he got what he wanted in less than 24 hours. So
right,
it's worked. Canada cannot survive this.
Canada screwed.
Mexico cannot survive this. So he got to get what he wants. Now the thing about it too is like fentanyl, the biggest thing in the world. Now, I am sensitive to drug abusers for sure, but I also understand that a country's appetite for drugs will not change unless it's morally based. Meaning, you look at the countries that have low drugs, that's these countries are not democratic countries. They're not. These countries are based on moral standards of society. Like, even if they are democratically based, it's still like Japan is a morally standard based country, right? Saudi Arabia, the UAE, like you go to Asia, these countries are based on moral standards that supersede military might. Yeah. Japan doesn't even have a military really. So we can do everything. Drugs, the war on drugs has never worked, and it never will work. Because there's no moral.
Did it work for who it's supposed to work for? That's another.
I'm saying as far as stopping drugs in America, it's not going to work. You could send 20,000 troops to the border. It's not going to work because Americans have an insatiable appetite for drugs.
Who planted that here, though? And truth be told,
so
you're sending troops to the wrong border because you're afraid of Xi Jinping.
Well, that's the part, right? So when we do this timeline, right? Or you look at where, so fentanyl is the drug. Well, fentanyl is made in what country?
Been telling you, China. Even the COVID, which now everyone knows is a bioweapon that was sent to destroy our economy, and Trump fumbled how to handle that.
I see where you're going with it, right? I mean,
so like he put that's why he included China 10%.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's a triangle. It comes from China.
Let me because I see where you're going with it, right? Like, how many times are we're gonna see like, hey, this is an intentional attack, right? So yeah, COVID, we know where it started in Wuhan, right? Fentanyl created in China. You tie Mexico into it by saying it's being illegally snuck into the country from their border, right? And so rather than saying let's send troops there, let's send troops to the border to stop smuggling it in. Not to say like, hey, let's stop.
Let's go to the source.
Like, we're not going to the source.
We can't. We don't have a border with China.
Well, that's true. No, I'm saying not send them to the border.
We won't go to war with them because we're afraid.
No, but I'm saying he's putting tariffs on China, and part of that is that they have to try to stop the export. And they said that they've already done a lot to try to stop the export. But what I'm saying is this: a war on drugs is not going to work because a war, as long as people want drugs, they're going to get it. And a society that has no normal social equity as far as what we have standards. You've seen somebody, we got all kinds of degradation in this society that other countries don't have, that we've normalized. So we've degraded our moral compass so low as a country. Of course, we always gonna have a drug problem. Like, it's normalized. So you go to these other countries, you see that they don't have drugs. There's no drugs in Singapore like that. They're gonna be like, oh, yeah, of course, you might have one or two people that can get whatever, a pill here, some weed here, but as a whole, there's no drugs in Singapore. There's really no drugs in Japan. Like, I seen Jim Jones. He said he was sober for the first time in 30 years when he was in Tokyo. There's no
the drugs are planted here, though.
But what I'm saying is that there's drugs planted in other places, but the society has not normalized it. So what I'm saying, all I'm saying is that I'm not against what Trump is doing. I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah,
I agree because we won't go to the source. Like China is investing into the port of Manzanillo. Nobody's talking about it. So when they bring them other H100 Hopper fucking GPUs in, the fentanyl is going to be there.
Well, here's the thing. But
So, I mean, that's 3 attacks, right? Like you think about
that we know of.
Allegedly, right? There might be more cyber attacks that we don't know, but like you think about COVID, you're thinking about obviously fentanyl, and then last week with the potential, like, hey, let's crack the economy. AI, they're going to win this race. Now, here, let's crack this economy. We have something that's going to change everything, right? We're going to do this. We're going to do this more efficiently.
Yeah,
there's a pattern here.
Well, the problem is that we can't live without China. China can live without us. And even if
go back to the leverage,
if you look at the apps, there is no Twitter in China.
No,
there's no Instagram in China. There's no Meta in China. There's no Facebook in China. When we lost TikTok, people was calling 911 for medical emergencies.
Leverage.
We can't, but it also goes back to the social construct of the country. They've built their country to be self-sufficient. They built their country from a standpoint of China first, really China. We say American first and it doesn't mean anything because everything that we do is American last. They've built themselves through a communist construct that is China versus the world. They understand that. They are self-sufficient people. They fall in line. They respect leadership. These are all things that are, you can't change that with just money. That got to be in you as a people.
Yeah.
Right?
As a society.
Yeah. So it's like when he's saying like it's short-term pain, people don't want to hear that. They want TikTok. They don't care about they're taking all your information, they're reading your eyeballs, they're doing this. This is harmful
financial data.
I want to see people twerking on TikTok. That's more important to me.
But that can be a concerted effort too. The argument can be made that that's been done intentionally, right? Because the TikTok and the version that they have is completely different than the one that they've served to our people.
It's a thing called accountability in life.
I know that. I know. I said the argument can be made.
If we're going to keep ducking accountability, we're never going to move forward.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that.
Can we be accountable and talk about the politicians who have sold our country away in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, and this is part of the reason of the degradation of our country?
Yeah, it's like
waterways, roads, bridges, infrastructure, even the Mexico argument. It's a lot of Mexican influence here, and a bunch of these cities and political ramps, and nobody wants to fucking talk about it. Who do you think's the biggest beneficiary of avocado sales going up and down the last 15 years? It ain't fucking Tostitos in Jersey.
91% of avocados come from Mexico.
Sold.
Yeah, 91%.
Drop this in the law.
It's a lot.
We've been infiltrated, yo. Like, I'm surprised this country, like, even for people to say, well, Nvidia earnings determine the value and health of the stock market, tells you how we should not be dependent upon one country for all the gains or movement in the market. We've been infiltrated. But I agree on accountability. But the politicians who helped cause this problem are not talked about.
Well, we'll see. We're going to see if this actually works out or if it doesn't work.
You think Trudeau comes to the table?
He has no choice.
Yeah, but sit down, lay down.
Right, but before the end of the week, I would assume.
Maybe get your cutest suit, and you can talk firm in Quebec. When you get on the phone, you better be nice to meet you. Glad to see you back, and you better be on your best behavior.
What would you like from us?
Because if we're gonna be honest, Canada's economy is in a soft recession right now. Anyway, they got a big ass banking crisis that nobody's talking about. Same with our bond market.
Yeah, I mean, for them, it's a lot different, right? If you look at based on their market, but the majority of the companies that are profitable are the financials. Like us is technology, them is financial. So if there's a banking crisis,
well, even going back to China, right? When I said we can live, China can live without us, we can't live without China. Who makes all the shoes? Like we stopped manufacturing shoes years ago. And they said it was too costly, it's too labor intensive. When China had one incentive 60 years ago just to become a manufacturing power. That was their one thing. They just said, all we need to do is become a manufacturing power. And by that, they became who they are now, just by manufacturing. So they can live without our clothes because they don't get any, we get the clothes from them. They can live without our technology. We import the tech, even American companies, Apple, all of those things are made in Asia.
And they're way ahead of us. Talk about it. He's cooking. Like, even with like, well, America's the leader in innovation. No. If you've been to Japan or China, light years ahead.
Japan for sure.
Yeah, even chips. America created the chips, and now we make less than 8% of the world's chips. So now
it's like, oh, what have we done? Let's bring it back here. Let's create fabrics here. Yeah. Well,
why you have a South African in office leading, and then the chip makers are, what are we talking about, Joe? The country been infiltrated. It's like when they let Hov go take over Def Jam. It's like, whoo. So what? Rock Nation in the building. Shout to Rock Nation. Shout to Hov. Shout to B. It's too late, yo. If we are like, think about this. We've been on the show 5 years. We won't mention the Russell 2000. Why? Because all the value there has gone. It should be a national uproar. Like, we talked to one of the guys at the mastermind. He said, yo, what's going on with the bond market? Everybody I talked to at Citadel, Goldman, JP Morgan won't give me a straight fucking answer about what's going on with our bond market. For those of you who don't know, it's damn near like real estate being under or flat for 5 years nationwide. And then they're calling it a recession. There's some scary shit going on. And to back to you, Rashad, like, China is outpacing us, and they're our financial parent. And the culture that they have there is much stronger than ours, because we have sold ours off for pennies on the dollar to other countries. While we built up India's middle class, which has beat our middle class, and China and them are teaming up. And Japan's a little cousin at the little kiddie table at Thanksgiving, preparing to do the 20v1 versus us.
You think the Indian middle class has passed us?
For sure. For sure. I told everybody, yo, y'all got all them VAs and you're sending intellectual property over to let them manage, and all of a sudden your data and listing companies are being built that resemble American companies in India. You gotta check your terms of service.
I only asked that. I asked that because there was going to be a follow-up to it, but what we saw this weekend in terms of artificial intelligence, especially when we think VAs, completely disruptive.
Gotta
obsolete.
Yeah.
Right. So now, what does that do for economy if you're saying like a lot of this is coming from that type of business?
Yeah.
It nearly wipes it out.
Part of the war that we are facing is a technological and software war. We can't go into India and bomb, but if Open AI and the super agents, which I hear they're moving faster on, will for sure degrade that economy with VAs, because now if the super agents can make the calls for you, like he illustrated, and send emails for you, and even when I was playing with O3 Mini, when I was getting ready for the presentation, it's getting faster and better every day, for sure. So we have to fight back on. I can't say biologically, but China has weaponized that. The software they're using and tech we're using, we have to do that. We have to pull a lot of things back into our country that have been outsourced for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
There's a war at the highest level.
There will be some areas that could potentially benefit from tariffs, though. Domestic manufacturing, Caterpillar, Deere, General Electric.
Yeah, we told them that.
Defense and aerospace. No, because that's a question.
No, I'm saying
defense and aerospace.
Yeah.
Lockheed Martin.
Yep.
Raytheon.
Yep.
Northrop Grumman. U.S. Energy and Commodities. ExxonMobil, Chevron. Agricultural and food pressing, Archer, Daniels, Tyson, steel and aluminum,
still questionable.
Domestic retailers, Dollar General, Costco's, Home Depot,
Costco for sure.
Technology software companies.
Well,
Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce.
The retail ones are questionable. Right, because we know from an agricultural standpoint, and we got the stats here, 40% of vegetables are imported from Canada and Mexico.
Well, what they did last time is, what they did was we made money on tariffs last time from agriculture.
And they said,
what they did was ended up pretty much giving that money to U.S. farmers for subsidies to actually help the farming industry in America. So you rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right. So, and then inside of those, like even a Costco, right? Not only do they sell food, but they actually sell clothing. And so we know that most of the manufacturing is coming from overseas as well. So it's tricky. But those first key areas, and we've been saying this for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Domestic, Caterpillar is going to be there. RTX. Yep. These are companies like, again, these are going to be tariff proof type situations. But it's going to be interesting, man. That's what I said. This has been the first 14 days of this administration
has been crazy, crazy, lit, crazy, interesting.
But he told us these things. It's not like he didn't say these things were going to happen. It's just like, oh, they're happening like today. Like, he's not playing.
Okay. Bitcoin was also down heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it rebounded. The problem with, and they're gonna have to really figure out this 24-hour trading thing, because especially like something like IBIT, is that you really can't catch the dips too much because they happen overnight a lot of times. So when it can't,
set a pending order.
I know, but I'm saying by the time the market opens, it's so volatile, like the volatility, right? So it's like Bitcoin was at 92,000 in the middle of the night, and then it was like 98,000 shortly after the market opened. So, I mean, you know, it affects the price if you're really trying to get at the lowest price possible, because I've noticed that's always been a trend, though, especially like the Asian influx that comes in.
Yeah.
But we have seen Bitcoin drop drastically, but we've also seen a lot of altcoins hit a lot. 25%, 30%. So
I mean,
Trump coin with what I said it was gonna go. Like, now can we be honest? Just stick with the main ones. All of you trying to get into fart coin and all this other bullshit, like, yo, what do you expect? And why are we panicking over a 10%, a 5% drop in Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin didn't really drop that much, but like I said, it's the other coins that really took a major hit.
Trump coin is down 30% over the past 7 days.
Told you.
You got XRP. I mean, that's back down under 260. Yep. A lot of them took a hit, man. So that, and we talked about that proportionally, right? When Bitcoin, obviously, the dominance that it has, if it drops 4%, you're going to see some of these other ones drop 15, 20, and like you said, sometimes 30%. And so that's the leader. Follow the leader.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michael Saylor was on the cover of what, Fortune magazine?
He's on the cover of Forbes.
You gotta like Bitcoin.
They said that they might. So they said, like, you know, how there was a Madden curse every time somebody's been on a cover.
I remember Bill Ackman was on there as the next baby Buffett, and
Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of Forbes.
I mean, there's a lot of people on the cover.
No, I'm talking about in terms when it goes to Bitcoin, like
when they get to knighting people.
Yeah, when they get to knighting people in the cryptocurrency space. So they had what's my man's name, who was the CEO of Binance?
Oh yeah.
When he was on the cover, then Bitcoin dropped, and then when Bankman-Fried, obviously we saw what happened with him, and now Saylor's on the cover, and he's been selling. Like I said, remember I'm like, hey, well, how are they going to get the money to start buying more Bitcoin? And what did they do? They started selling shares to buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah, they get preferred stock, all that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But the thing about it is, Bitcoin in the 90s is you can't be mad at that, but in the 80s you really gotta like Bitcoin.
You gotta love it.
In the 80s for sure. You gotta really like it if you believe in the space. But a lot of stocks have been down. So out of all the stocks that's down, what's the best buying up? What's the best one?
Nvidia. Stop asking me, audience, not Rashad. For the rest of the audience, Nvidia. If Microsoft dips, like once I always said, and I said it on stage, I am focused on the companies that are going to move the GDP of the United States of America, because if Nvidia or Microsoft goes down, we are screwed. Shout out to the parent watching with your child. Do I get any credit?
No.
I don't care about GEVO or IONQ or dog. It's time, like with the Lakers, it's time to put up championships, or you're gonna get moves around. Shout out to Adam Silver for David Stern would have vetoed that shit in his sleep. Nope, just like they did Chris Paul. Nope, go back to no.
Straight up.
Now it's time for mega market cap companies to buy. The issue is, are you playing around? I talked to some of you privately. You keep trying to reinvent the wheel and get exceptional gains out of non-exceptional companies.
That's a bar.
Can't do it.
It's a bar.
Oh,
I think that's the obvious choice, right? Like we see it sitting at 115, 116, and we're watching it, and most people will say, well, it might go lower. Well, I'll wait till it goes lower. Well, it was at 152 a month ago.
Yes.
How much lower do you want it to go, right? It's great as the stock has fallen. Like nobody, I don't want to catch the falling knife. No, that's not this, right? Every analyst, we talk about outperforming, underperforming. Every analyst has kept the same average 12-month
price target.
It's at 172.
You're going
to
be mad in 3 months. And when InvestFest come around, I'm screaming, you deserve to be broke because you didn't listen. You're going to be hella upset. No, buy. And if you want to know where to get in and where to get out, swing trade price, quick entry, or load the boat, go to ianinvest.com and join Stock Club. If I made you money, Stock Club, please put yes in chat. Let me get some pandas in chat. It's not that hard. You know what the hard part is? Like, okay, when I first started doing media, I was like, yo, what's the blueprint? Just show up and don't miss no shows. 99% of y'all podcasters, yo, got a lot to say. A lot of y'all in spaces got a lot to say. You're not showing up every day when you're supposed to. Can we just be honest? The companies that are doing the best are the ones who get the team to execute on time and the fastest consistently. I don't know what the hell is going on with Salesforce. Don't know. Love Mark Benioff off. But the team, they were way behind on AI, way behind on innovation. Please go call Johnny Ive Apple and bring him back into the fold.
Well, the company that hasn't kept its ratings is AMD.
They have not.
So that's a company that's been talked about. So what's the deal with that?
In every space, you have a leader. Shout out to Scottie Pippen. I know you met Satoshi in '92 when you was on the south side of Chicago, or allegedly, or whatever you say now for your rollout. I'm going to go back to what we did year one. Nvidia is Michael Jordan. Everybody else is Kukoc and Pippen.
We got
AMD is Kukoc. It's the cousin that's pretty good.
It's not Kukoc.
So it's at its 52-week low right now.
It's definitely Pippen.
It's all right, let's keep it in perspective. It dropped 50%. It's at its 52-week low.
Yeah.
There's only one or two options here. That means that it's a bad company, is free falling, and it's time to sell it and cut your losses if you're in. Or this is a pivotal moment where you can't act for anything better, where it's a good company, number 2 in the space. I mean, no, I'm saying I'm painting a picture.
Yes, it is.
I'm painting a picture. So it's like, yeah, there's only one LeBron James, but you're not going to be mad if you get Dwayne Wade, right? Or you're not going to be mad if you're able to get.
Yes, they are. So, stop, man. Stop.
So is AMD better than TSMC?
Two different things.
See or no?
No, it's two different things.
So remember when Sicario was running around and sounded like holes?
Wait. To get it at its 52-week low.
What he's saying is correct.
Is this a good time to buy or is this a good time to sell?
I'm honest.
The only two options that there is.
I'll let him go first, and then I'll go. But
I have AMD going to 98 in Stock Club. That was put out 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. AMD, of course, which I love dearly, amazing company, but mismanaged. They missed the moment. Sometimes you can be in pole position, get too comfortable. AMD, you got an A tier and a B tier. Salesforce, B tier. Intel, bottom of B. AMD, B tier. They're not A class.
Who's A class?
Nvidia, TSMC.
But here's what I'm saying. It's two different things, right? Like TMC is manufacturing, right? They're designing, right? The companies design it, they manufacture it. So it's two different things.
Get it.
When you compare an AMD, you got to compare it to its class, right? If we're talking about GPUs, it's Nvidia. We know that by far, hands down, 85% of the market share. Who's number 2?
And GPU?
Yeah.
To me,
not to you. No, not to you.
No.
Based on sales, number 2 is AMD. It's not even close.
Okay,
they have 15%. Yeah. So if they have 85%, they have 13 to 15%. So that's pretty much the GPU market. Yes, are they catching Nvidia? They're not going to catch Nvidia in the GPU.
No,
but they also do, and this is why that Nvidia, when Jensen had that press conference, when he starts talking about the CPU market and how they're trying to come back into that, that's concerning because AMD has now passed Intel in the CPU market, right? Which they are now becoming more so the leader in that space. So they're not Kukoc. They are a D-Wade.
They're Pippen at best.
That's what they're Pippen.
I'm not leading my team with Scottie Pippen.
I'm not saying you should, but that doesn't mean it's a bad company, right? This is still he's still a Hall of Famer. You still win chips with them at this level. Yeah, even if it's 98 is the number, right? It's at 113. Like, we're not, if you're talking about holding this long term, is this a good place to buy? Yeah, it's a good place to buy. If you look at the history, if you look at the history since 2020, look at how it's traded. We've seen it run up from, and I had it at $57. I watched it run up to 151. I watched it pull back down to 75. We watched it run up again. It's pulled back. It has these moments, these cycles. Tomorrow is a big day for its earnings, so we'll see what happens. But I got a love-hate relationship.
I've been
right now
AMD since 2017. I have the Ryzen chip in my personal desktop computer. I probably spent $40,000 or $50,000 in upgrades with AMD over the last 4 or 5 years. Scottie Pippen at best.
Are you mad at that?
No,
they report earnings tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, that's what it is.
So, but most people are bullish already on their earnings. So the sentiment is negative. But
wait, bullish? You said?
I mean bearish.
Bearish.
But below 98, I love it. Well, 98 or below, love it. 98 degrees.
All right. So we got special guest.
Thanks, Ian.
Now we're gonna bring in.
Good. And for the record, Troy, Rashad, and I are getting along perfectly fine for y'all do y'all little think pieces. Wow, they battling like this over equity today.
Are there any stocks under $100 that's worth buying?
Yeah, Nvidia. Under when it gets like I'm being serious, but all jokes aside, please write this down. Look for the best asset at the cheapest price and leave everything else alone. You guys do it when you go car shopping. You don't even get no discount at Louis. Shout to the CEO. Gonna be there February 27th. Get a ticket now. But when the best assets in the world are on sale, that's what you should look to buy. Before the stock split, everyone was complaining that it's too high. And now that it's at 118, people have concerns. And in 3 years, when it's at 350, what will the excuse be? So if it dips underneath, I don't know, 100 flat, $98 at some point, cool. If you want to take a swing at AMD, even though Troy and I had a spirited debate, can't wait to see the think pieces on that. AMD and Nvidia will be two great ones. The question is, will you execute and hold it for the next 5 years? Stop thinking about everything in a short-term framework.
Yeah, that'll be the part, right? Like, people need to have that long-term vision. Since you said those two, I will give two different ones. I will go with Micron, which is sitting at 90 now. Obviously, we talked about Nvidia. They are partnered with Nvidia in terms of storage. Yep. So, like, when these GPUs and all this AI needs to figure out where it's being stored, data storage is going to be important. So Micron's sitting at 90. And Dell, we spoke about Dell. I spoke about that in terms of the data center infrastructure, in terms of cooling, in terms of racks. Dell is sitting at 100. I mean, this is one of those companies that's just been here for a long time, but they're changing the way they're operating. Obviously, now with the revolution in AI, those are two that I would put. Obviously, the ones you said for sure, and then those two at 190. So those are two of mine.
Yeah, some best practices. You should definitely not risk more than 10% of your portfolio if you're trading. That's important. Because that's going to lead to you making irrational decisions. If you got $100,000 to invest in the stock market, you shouldn't and trade $50,000.
Mistake.
Trade $10,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any disagreement with that?
No, I think it speaks to a bigger issue of having a plan before you invest. Right? Like, what is your plan?
That's the part. Yeah. Investment trading isn't a place where you can think day to day or week to week. You need to have your plan mapped out for the next 5 years. I said it at the mastermind. Like, do you have your trading plan mapped out for the year and your investment plan for the next 5 or 10?
Right.
And then also, as your account, especially, but even earlier, you might want to consider using an LLC.
For sure.
For sure.
So you can change your registration. Like if you with Charles Schwab or Fidelity, you can create an LLC and move the registration of your trading account to an LLC. That would help potentially if you ever got sued, lawsuit. You know, you don't really want to keep stuff in your personal name.
Yeah,
that's important.
This is called asset protection, especially when you, and we saw a couple of brokerage accounts that you should be listening to this advice. Once you start hitting that 50,000 over 100,000 inside of that brokerage account, protect yourself.
Yeah,
please.
Because people will try it.
That's not for us.
Yeah, for sure. So that's something to consider as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to overextend yourself in too many positions, stocks. That's gonna water down your performance. You got $300 in 89 different companies. Even if it goes up 100%, well, you made $300.
Yeah, you won't make any real money. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Safe bets. Defense wins championships.
That's what the Dallas GM said.
Oh, Mark Cuban, wherever we need you.
I saw this in the notes, man. I'm interested to hear your take. So, Tempus AI. If you haven't been paying attention to that, Nancy Pelosi, you saw the things that she invested in, a lot of option calls she had. She had Tempus AI in her portfolio. So is this a good long-term investment considering obviously Nancy Pelosi has revealed that she's trading it? What's your thoughts?
I think we need to understand that there's a difference between a great trade and a good long-term investment. In 2024, Tempus was at $27. It's currently at 60. This year got back down to $31, $32 range. So it's a good trade. I want to ask a couple questions real quick to the audience. Who is the CEO of Tempus? What do they do? And what competitive advantage do they have over others in their space? If you can't answer any three, I would not invest in the long term. Most people who were asking me this had no clue what the company did. Everything in AI is not created equal. Now, this the Pete Myers section of the Pete Myers of the bench. Like, no. We're going too deep into the rabbit hole. Like, no.
To Judge
good
Bushler.
trade, maybe. Yeah, Judge Bushler. Yeah. Come on, we cannot. No.
I think the space is interesting. This is like AI and healthcare combined. And so when you hear the president talk about healthcare and being able to cure disease, this is one of those companies that probably will be involved in it. She's not the only one. Nancy Pelosi is not the only person that invested, though. Kathy Wood, I think, bought 600,000 shares into one of her ARK funds. But it's new. I mean, just if you look back, and I know one of those things like let's look back to the inception of the company. Yeah. It only goes back to, I think it started trading last June. So it's fairly new, which is interesting. But the fact that she's investing in it already, and the fact that Kathy Wood has put a substantial amount in there, it's just something that I'm definitely going to watch because I think AI and healthcare, that is one of those spaces. I watched a documentary with Bill Gates, and he said the two industries that it'll be able to disrupt and revolutionize will be education and healthcare from a standpoint of getting all the medical data, figuring out treatments that are more efficient, finding out medicine that is more efficient, and potentially cures for diseases and terminal diseases at that. So definitely an industry, but I don't think they'll be the only one. That'll be like, what's the competitive advantage? But definitely a space to look at.
Hypothetically, if he finds a cure, does he keep a patent on it and keep it to himself, or do they actually release it to the public? Allegedly.
The money is in the treatment, man. Never in the cure.
Allegedly.
Also, we talked about it before, but we talked about it this weekend. Profit margin. So gross profit margin for Tempus AI is 53.18%. Amazing. 53? Net profit margin, negative 116%. CapEx, I get it. Oh, CapEx. They bought the Singapore H100 hopper chips. Gotcha. But if a negative, this is on CNBC. Negative 116%.
Well, they're technically still in year one. So let's see. Like that's the homework assignment. Go find companies who have made money but have overspent. Uber would be in that category, right?
Sure.
They had a negative, but they've turned that around recently. Find companies that have done that successfully.
Yes. Difference between a hotline and a hot song.
And Trump has already threatened tariffs on EU as well. So gotta get them in line for sure.
Everybody.
But whenever you see opportunities to buy, you gotta buy good companies. Microsoft is a good company, Nvidia is a good company, things like that. And then there's the ETF play is always a good choice as well. QQQ, XLK, SMH, stuff like that. And it's never a bad time to buy index funds. S&P 500. Bitcoin. Anytime you see a dip in 90s, you gotta think that that's something that's beneficial. And then if it ever gets to the 80s, then that's gonna be great.
Low, low ad.
For sure. But yeah, Trump's thing seems to be working so far.
They're coming to the doorstep.
I mean, he paused the tariffs on Mexico, so maybe he'll pause on EU as well.
Well, they got a month to figure this out.
Well, that's why I said it's working.
Yeah.
Did he pause it, or did they concede to his?
No,
demands?
He gave him. They offered they asked for an extension for a month to figure it out.
Yeah, and then after that, he paused it.
They conceded to his demands. They put 10,000 troops on the border.
My thing is, if you have a grievance with somebody, go to the person with the head of the grievance, not their little cousin in 8th grade.
Well, a bully's only as strong as his opponent. You know that.
That's true. Very true. It's a great lesson.
We deal with how you deal with somebody depends on their strength. That's just based off of intelligence, honestly. If you're going to try to be Rambo and deal, you're going to get killed. I mean, you can go out like a kamikaze, but that's not intelligent. You know, I'm not going to deal with somebody that's 5'2" the same way I deal with somebody that's 7 feet.
You can't give me grace.
I'm trying to give you grace.
That's a fact.
Imani bags. Who?
You can't give me grace
until the person that's 5'2" knocks you out.
For sure. Or pull a Draco out.
Suge Knight.
They ain't playing.
Couple times.
Everybody can lose.
That's a fact.
At any time.
That's a fact.
Yep.
Nobody's bulletproof in this world. But in the moment, it seems to be working. He seems to be working. All of these Fortune 500 companies have.
Yo, Donnie moving like bulletproof though.
They've obliged until he's not.
I'm saying he's moving like it. I'm not saying he is, but he's moving like.
Well, he is. He is bulletproof until he's not.
Yep. Until he's not.
He's Teflon.
They try to take him off it.
Achilles was bulletproof until they found out that he had one part that was vulnerable.
Yeah,
he's definitely.
He did.
He's it's been working so far, so we'll see. But gotta invest in these strong companies when you see drastic dips in the market.
Yeah, this is what you waited for. This is what you waited for, right? We said we're not going to invest at the 52-week highs. We watch these companies run up. Well, now they've pulled back. Now what? Now what do you do? The decisions you make now will be indicative of how the end of your year will look.
And why
right now?
Why are hedge funds selling off stock before we bring on our guests?
Two-part reasons. Partially to take gains, and I know it's like salacious when you see it. It's very intriguing, but they have a different schedule than us as retail investors. So some of them are taking profit. Of course, some sold off because of the reversal of fortune, but most are really taking profit to secure things for their client. And a lot of money starts to get dispersed in March for hedge funds as well. So that's part of the reason as well. Sometimes even when they're like, Jensen sold off $83 million worth of stock. Well, it's like the reasons are different than our reasons for wanting to sell or take profit. The incentive structure is different. And some of these funds have to sell off by a certain time for certain client bases for different reasons. So, and I'll say it, if we ever come to a point where the market is just going to fall apart, I'll be the first one come on here and scream it. Friday Night Live. Right. Sell everything. Like Michael Burry did 2 years ago and was wrong. We're not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
All right, guys. We got a special treat for you. One of the greatest of all time.
Okay.
A legend in 2 games. We're gonna bring on our guy, Timbaland. Timbo the King. Timbo, what's the deal?
My brother.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
How you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling blessed. How y'all feeling?
Man, happy to be here with you.
Good, man.
Let's
Fresh
go.
off the Did you go to the Grammys?
No.
Strong though.
Strong no.
No.
First and foremost, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I can't complain.
For sure, man. Thank you for joining us.
How y'all doing?
Very good, man.
Doing good, man.
Same, can't
Happy to have you
complain.
here.
Can't complain. Tim, man. Obviously a legend when it comes to music, but just a brilliant mind in business. And we've been seeing you all over in the business world. Like, people don't really even know. Like, Tim been making a lot of moves, moving around. Really, really tapped in and extremely educated. Even when we spoke with you in Miami a few years ago, like, just talking about valuations and IPOs and stuff like that. Like, really, really smart guy. So thought it'd just be good to have a conversation about a few different things. But I wanted to start with the obvious question. It's a two-part question. Is versus. Are we going to see versus again? And then also, I know you made the deal with X. This is before all of this stuff happened, but we've been seeing Elon on a rampage right now. So has that affected your thought process as far as working with Elon, all of the stuff that we've been seeing over the last 6 months?
To be honest with you, I think versus is like a separate, it's still about versus, you know what I'm saying? And we really don't really pay attention to the other stuff, because it's more about the core of what we have. And it's really about, live performance. And we haven't crossed that bridge yet of for us, I guess, talking to Elon and anything like that. But we're more focused on the core of what versus is and really ramping it back up.
So we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it in 2025.
Oh yeah, you definitely gonna see it in 2025. That's the whole thing. It's more, greatness take time to make it all tie together and make sense of the whole bigger picture of what we're trying to build in the ecosystem. And sometimes you can rush things and jump out the window too fast, and now you playing catch up. I'd rather just hold back, patch up as many holes as you possibly can before coming out, because I see that we're in a different time, and we do own our company, and it's like, we got to be very strategic and smart on how we launch coming back out. And I think y'all guys know about that. And I just think this, as our culture, sometimes we got to educate. It's better to be patient than to rush things. Know all your stuff, because what happens when you rush, you find yourself in a crisis later on. And sometimes it's better just you're never going to fix everything, but fix all the stuff that you possibly can fix and tighten up everything.
Yeah, it's definitely the different time. And I know one of the things that you guys have been stringent on is ownership, and happy to hear that you guys are back in ownership. When Versus returns here in this year, 2025, I know ownership was something that was provided to a lot of the artists that were coming on to the Versus platform. Is it structurally similar, or are we seeing something different? Because we've seen, and a lot of people have, catapulted their careers and restarted and reintegrated their careers to a place where now they can actually go on tour. So what does that structure look like now for the people that are going to take place in Versus going forward?
We still it's still like kind of the same kind of way, but we restructure in a lot of different ways now. So it's like we're really trying to make it a serious event. I'm not trying to get too much away, but it's gonna be something serious. I'm just let you know that.
like an in-person tour type thing.
I know you're trying to pick my brain.
I'm just trying to figure out when we can pull out
ideas there.
Just know it's gonna be great. Just know you're gonna be like, wow. That's all you gotta say is like, wow. That's it. Because you know what it is? It's like, and I just keep it 100. I know my brother be like this. Sometimes, we are very quiet on what we do. You know what I'm saying? We move in silence. We don't talk about it. We don't hype it up. We don't post, but we let you know that the signal's in the air. You see, we change our logo. We back to V, so it's let you know that we mean business, but it's we minding our business. You know what I'm saying? We staying out of everybody's business and getting to our business. You know what I'm saying? We don't really I don't talk about it. I just be about it. You just see it.
On the AI side, can you talk to us about how you're using AI to produce and generate the next sound? I saw a clip on, I think it was on Instagram, where you took the vocals and you made like 8 different beats around the vocals. Can you talk to us about how you think music is going to change over the next 4 or 5 years due to AI?
I think it's definitely going to be a change, a big switch. The major switch is adaptation. I think AI is really for people that are hyper creative. Like, I'm a hyper creative person, so that means I can do a lot of stuff without traveling a lot of places, because this tool allows me to rethink my whole production. You know what I'm saying? It makes me say, okay, well, what if I add this to it and then take it back over here, put it back over there, back up. It's like, it's a tool for me that elevates my production. It makes me feel like a kid again. I feel like I'm 19 again. It makes me rethink my own beats different. You know what I'm saying? Because the way I use it and the way, I think, and that's the beauty about it, because everybody's going to use it in their own way and how they use it. And I think the way I'm looking at it and what I'm trying to build with it is a whole like ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? Not just you got characters, you got cartoons, you got this. It's a multiverse, a multitude of things. That's why you have these tools to 10x your business and to build out your business. And I feel like when I look at AI, I look at it like, at first it was like, because I'm a creative and I'm like, man, I don't know about this. But once it got, because it's just getting better. It's learning every day. Every day is just getting better and better. So now it's like, wow, if I might say I want to do this Latin beat, right? But I know musicality and I know my music tastes. I know what to do in the Timbo way. But now I have a tool that I can grab inspiration from to make that the right way. Yeah. But before, I probably have to make phone calls and do certain things. If I, tap in, and I still would do that, but to get that idea, to get that what I'm feeling out, I don't have to wait no more. You know what I'm saying? So me, I love that it's here. This is what I always was waiting for since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like playing, ping pong or something, like, or playing a video game, first player. You know what I'm saying? You challenging the computer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it's like, it's taking my creativity to the max. Now I'm like Thanos when it comes to music now.
So
it's like now I got the ring, like whoop. It's like, because you know what I'm saying, and it's like, for me, it's like I know what it is. Versus some people, I know some people got their things about it and against it, but what you got to understand is AI doesn't work without the human component. Absolutely. That's what people got to realize. It's like a coder might say, oh, it's going to take my job. No, you know how to code. So I don't know how to code, but you're going to know how to talk to it to code what you're looking for. So look at it that way, which would take you 2 weeks to do something. Now you could do it in a day. Yeah. So it's like, who wouldn't want that? Like you're still operating it, but you don't have to go do all these things to probably make this functionality work. You have a tool that you can do it at the drop of a dime and still get back to you to tighten up what the tool didn't. So to me, it's like, man, who wouldn't want that? You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing people having agents, creating jobs, making crazy money with this stuff. So I'm like, man, the future is here, like at a high rate.
So, we had Swiss on our show, Assets Over Liabilities, like I think last year, 2 years ago, when he had to explain when you guys first sold the company or the portion to Thriller, and there was a lot of misconfusion as far as the community. So he kind of explained it in detail. The company was supposed to go public. It never actually went public. And then you guys retained ownership back. So what was that process of actually that deal? It didn't work, I'm assuming. Then you got the ownership back. Like, how was you able to go about doing that?
I'm going to say this. We got a documentary, and I'm going to let the documentary speak.
Smart move. Can't give everything on the internet for free.
Oh man, he said document the process. What you said?
Documentary speaks for itself. I leave that on that note.
I listen. You just said that you're like Thanos now. In my brain, I'm like, you've always been that, but that's interesting to hear you say, right? And so, we grew up with you and that sound, right? And we saw that sound be lent to plenty of artists, from obviously from Aaliyah to Genuine, Missy, Jay, and then Justin Timberlake. There was that sound. When you look at the landscape of music now, like, is there an artist that you're like, wait, that person would be dope with that Timberland sound? Like, how do you look at the landscape right now?
I love all the indie artists. So it's like, you know, like, I think I'll be on them first. Like Stella, I think she dope. There's a lot of people I think is dope. That Helly Knox. There's a lot of people that are indie people that I think is super dope. And I feel like, you know, that's what, you know, those are things I want to work on. The stuff that, you know, the people don't know about, but it's about a feeling, because music still is getting back to that feeling. That's why, like, you got Dolce out here. She bringing that feeling back. It's that boom bap. It's that bop. So that lets you know people want that feeling. So it's not about how big you are. It's about who gonna give you that feeling. And I'm like, it's a lot of new cats out here to give me that feeling that I just want to work with. And I'm working with them. As you see, I do my show. I work with them. I do my thing. And so that's what I'm excited about, is working with the new indies and just being a part of that world and watching, because I feel like we're in the era of, we're going to see I don't really think it's going to be a superstar, but I think it's going to be stars. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we might see the next superstar. I know we usually that usually come around every 5 to 10 years, that superstar, that big one that shake up the world, like how The Weeknd, Drake, Travis, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if we might see those again right away, but we're going to see stars. I say those are mega stars, and we'll see superstars.
For you, off of that question, like what are the components that make a superstar artist or superstar company like the one you have in Versus?
What makes the artist a superstar like the Versus?
No, I'm saying, like, what makes a superstar company like Versus, and from building artists up, like what makes a superstar artist in today's climate and landscape?
You know what? I think just content, engagement. I think that's really what, and really work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And how bad do you want it? And I think who has that and showing everybody for real how it's done is LaRussell. LaRussell, if you don't follow LaRussell, I mean, that's what it takes. It takes commitment, consistency, and knowing that it's going to take time. The beauty is, the marketing can be on you. It's on about the algorithm that we have today with all the technology and using that to your best ability. You know what I'm saying? Before, we had to go, which I think you still have to once you get, you know, on a major and do your thing, is to hit the streets. But since you can't hit the streets like that, you don't have that money to have a street team, then you got to do it digital. And I think it's about the work ethic and how much time you know put into your craft. I don't think nothing is all the same, just work different. You know, I think it's all work. You all it's how much you work, consistency when you don't see nothing and you still working. That to me makes a superstar. The Baby is like that. I mean, it no matter what, he gonna keep going, and that's you don't find that in a lot of artists. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like you can point them out. Just they're very simple, and that's why I say LaRussell. Because LaRussell, I don't think nobody go as hard as him right now.
Well, we see the largest artist in the game with a lawsuit, and it did bring up some interesting points as far as a level of collusion that people are saying, as far as a record label working with Spotify, and how much a record label actually has their hands in dictating whether an artist is successful or if an artist is not successful. So, I mean, just the lawsuit aside, do you think that the music label needs to be some level of broken up, or are you kind of like fine with how? I don't really
get into the label stuff and all that. I just stay in the craft of music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of stay away from all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that kind of take away from the love of what you do. And I just know that, you know, what's meant to be, what's in God's hand, to work yourself out. You know what I'm saying? I don't get caught into all what's going on and what this and nah. I just, hey, when your stuff is great, it's just gonna flourish and it's gonna work itself out.
But you're working with a lot of independent artists, though, right? Like, I'm assuming that we've never seen an independent artist become successful. Like even LaRussell, that's our guy. We featured LaRussell a million times, but we've never seen an independent artist.
Well, it depends on what you call success.
No, not success. We never seen an independent artist become a star, a superstar. We've never seen that.
They are stars. What do you mean? They can sell a ticket. They can sell even Russell. He ain't the number one artist on the chart, but he sell out a arena. I mean, to me, what are we saying? Like, what is a star? Like, what is a superstar? I think today we're in a young world. I feel like if you ain't up to the times today, you're gonna be left behind. The youth is taking over and they dictating what, to me, is what a star is and what's not a star. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's what you used to think a star is. I think we moved on to that. We're in the future. It's 2025. We're gonna see different things on in the world. Like right now, a superstar is a screamer. That's the new rapper. Period. That's just what it is.
Oh, that's a fact. From a content, no, that's from.
I'm just keeping it 100. So the things that a superstar is different now. It ain't what you think it used to be. Like if you go Kai, and it's just a different world.
Kai is bigger than any actor. He's bigger than any black actor.
But if I'd have said that last year when I saw it coming, everybody, oh, you crazy artist. It's like it's a whole nother platform out here. Mm-hmm. We have to rewire what we used to know and train ourselves to what's going to be. And take what we used to know and apply some of that to what's going to be. It ain't gonna be everything from the past. You have to okay, that ingredient works over here well because I see where it's going. They don't know about this ingredient.
But you know why Kai was able to become, because there was no barrier. Like there is no content gatekeeper, right? At least not now. So that's why the YouTubers, the streamers, the podcasters, there's really no ceiling on how far they can go. The music industry still has some level of gatekeeper. So what I mean by stars, like Macklemore, he's the last probably independent artist that I've seen sell out arenas. I haven't seen Madison Square, like he sold out Madison Square Garden. Like Macklemore,
Russ sold out arenas.
No, not basketball arenas.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, he did a couple shows like that. Not Lil Russ. I'm talking about Russ.
Russ. Okay, yeah, Russ.
Russ. Russ for sure.
Not Lil Russell. Not Lil Russell. Russ.
Yeah. Oh yes, Russ.
Independent.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, that's a fact.
No, he's one to know. Here's the thing, and I'll go to Russell because that is our guy. And this is a fine balance, and I'm not sure if there is one. At some point, can you oversaturate the audience? Because I know my boy got 35 albums, right? But he's putting out so much content, and his theory is like, I'm just going to keep working, and if something pops, it does. If it doesn't, great, I'm creating new stuff. Is there a balance on how much you should be giving to the audience, or just put out the work as you do it? Well, he slowed down.
I think the balance of days, it works for certain people, but it really, you can tell that it's kind of like fading off because the world is moving so fast. So I would say yes yesterday, but I got to say no today because I think it's just, and it's short songs. It's not like, and music is not long no more. So it's like after five can be 30 minutes or 5 can be 10 minutes. So those 30 songs could only equal up to maybe 20 minutes of listening time. Yeah, that's not a lot of time. It's a lot of songs, but it's not a lot of listening time. So it's like he gave you so much. He's giving you so much of him in a short, in a small window. So it's kind of genius in a way, because if you look at it, you watching that young man get better and better. He's showing you the process of, okay, you don't think I'm great today, but I'm going to be great tomorrow. And I'm going to show you the steps along the way. And if you don't document that, he's giving to you live, because I'm listening to his bars, and I don't work with LaRussell. I listen to his bars, and I'm listening to what his bars at today. There's a major growth. Now, for a song structure and all that, how we used to hearing it, some things it's a taste. It's what you like, but I think there is a crowd that loves that. You know what I'm saying? I think, could it be some tweaks? Yeah, it could be some tweaks, but he's at a point, he's built it to a point that I feel like he's built an ecosystem that you can buy into and structure. It's worth investing into because he's built it so big. And now if he brought in a money guy or a marketing, whatever he might want to bring in, he has built his ecosystem to a valuable place.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm thinking about Boss Man D-Lo. He said the same thing. Like, he's making one verse and that's the song. That's it.
But that's what these kids want. My daughter, like, they not, you know, don't get me wrong. It's all taste. You know what I'm saying? Certain songs you got to just know on the content that's being made. Do you want to hear 3 minutes of this? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to hear 4 minutes of this? You know, just the subject matter. You'd be like, you know what? That was cool. Rewind that back. What do you say? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. And it's like certain things require longer than others. But I agree. Like, I don't, it's funny because I can listen to an instrumental a little longer than I can listen to a whole song of that length. I could probably listen to an instrumental maybe 3 minutes and 4 minutes because it has dynamics. It got a lot of ear candy. But an actual song for 4 minutes, I don't know. I mean, I made songs 7 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, 5 minutes, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who are the top 3 most talented people you've ever worked with, and what made each of those people special, in your opinion?
You said talented?
Yes.
Artists?
Yes.
Man, I would say Jay-Z, Justin Timberlake, Missy Elliott. Jay-Z was like one of the first time I seen somebody not write down the lyrics and keep all that information in his head and can scrap a verse and go to a whole nother verse and still remember the verse that he scrapped in his head. Like, I'm like,
that's different.
That's human. Like, you know, how do you remember a verse that you scrapped in your head that you never wrote down and then start on a new verse? And I'm like, yo, well, what you said in the other? Oh, I said this. I'm like, oh, that's different. And then with Missy, she just taught me everything. Like, she knew I had a gift, but she made me understand my gift. Meaning, like, she would point out things that I maybe didn't see for drum sounds, sonics, harmonies, which I didn't know about. She saw something in me. She's like, yo, your beat's different. And then as I start watching her and how she create, it made me just be like, it just tightened me up. And then she made me not settle for anything. And like, I didn't know, like, because I was such a producer, I would put too much on the beat. So she always kind of remind me, like, that's cool for a rapper, but I'm a girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to make people move, dance. And then she kind of like gave me the understanding of a song is based on just simplicity. You know what I'm saying? And as producers, as a producer, you want to do so much more because you feel like that's just too simple. You're not really showing off your skills. But in reality, a song is about a feel good and making you repeat it and sing along. That's what song structure is. And she really made me understand that. And then Justin, he kind of was like, his discipline in the studio, the way he hear music, his beat, his rhythm, just in his pen game, like how much he really like just thought about the song before the song was done. And then he got to a point to where he didn't write down anything. I think he started off kind of like that. Like a lot of songs we was do, you know what? He never wrote down his songs either. He started to adapt that whole thing too. And I was like, to watch him piece it together and put the harmonies and then say, okay, I'm gonna do this. But he might sometimes hum the melody first and then go back and fill in the, you know, and write the song. He's like, okay, I want to do a different melody, or I change this melody. Then he'll just go keep walking around the studio and just be writing the song like, all right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like, you know, genius activity right there, because that shows like they, you know, just the memory of how they can retain how much they were sinking into the music and listen to all the instrumentation, and the instrumentation of the songs help him to write, you know, those lyrics and come up with those sounds. And actually all these people I'm talking about, their voice was a big part of the beats, because voices are an instrument. So, you know what I'm saying? And shout out, I didn't say Beyonce, you say 3, but her vocals are one top tier. I don't know what you would call it. Is it her? Because it's like she giving you an instrument you ain't never heard before. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't a trumpet. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, shout out to all the artists I work with, because their voices were instruments. You know, because I go by tone when I do a beat. I think that's what make my beat stand out, is the tones on those drums.
So from just, you've worked with some of the most talented people, as you just said, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Justin Timberlake, Aaliyah, Nas. And on the producer side, I mean, you worked with Kanye, you worked with, obviously, Swiss, Pharrell.
Yeah.
Yes, yourself included, like, what's some things that you've learned, common denominators outside of music, that you noticed from these type of people that had, you know, some level of similarities, as far as like, okay, like, I can understand why they're successful?
It's a great question.
Pharrell always was fashion. He did music. He always was very like, I was against the grain when it comes to my beats. He was against the grain when it comes to not just the music, but the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people maybe thought it was weird, the whole world adapted to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and he stayed 10 toes down since high school on everything. Like, Pharrell wear a hot bomber jacket in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Like his fashion game always been like that. So, and the way he just, I look at Pharrell like a Lionel Richie. Like, he writes those songs that stay around for decades. You know, like, you think about Lionel Richie, like, hello, is it me? Look, he he's that guy, but very like his music fits his fashion. Same with Kanye. Kanye was just more, what I learned from Kanye, just believe in yourself. Like, Kanye is a true leader of, like, just knowing your value and your worth. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, not ashamed to tell people what the real is. I don't have this. I don't do this. I don't do that. You know, he went to the club, said he was in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, his way of communicating is he don't have no fear. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists have a lot of fear. Kanye is one of, like, one of the best to ever do it. Not like music wise, but just how to push past a no and make the world see yes. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like, people talk about it, but Kanye's somebody who do it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, you can't find that. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell that, like, he wouldn't stop until the world knew. You know what I'm saying? I think Jay-Z, you know, he took his what he was and just transferred it over to the music and the business, and it was a bigger asset for him, and he really, like, monopolized the whole industry, and he really learned the ins out. And being around great ones like Jimmy and all these other people, Lior, is like, Jay is like a sponge, man. Like, his memory is insane. So it's like, anything that he see in business, he gonna take it in 10x. He gonna be like, oh, okay, if I get the best producer and I get this and I get that, okay, I'm gonna multiply. I know I'm gonna do this, so X time. Okay, yeah, we good. Like, he's like, he'd be like, what? Because he is the culture. So it's like, if I got this, I got that, I'm gonna move this because I got these pieces. You know, he's that type. He's very strategist. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot from, you know, those guys like Pharrell, Kanye, Swiss. Definitely, Swiss came in there with a crew and directed the crew. Like, he showed me that he was a fierce leader. You know what I'm saying? Because he had DMX, he had the Locks, and I believe Swiss had like they all respected his ear, and they all followed to the beat of Swiss. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is, a lot of people can't do that either. You know what I'm saying? Like those are like, and just the leadership, I watch him just really be a voice. Even when it came to me, like when we used to kick it, he always gave me a lot of encouragement on like, yo, man, you Timbo, like, you know, he just broke me down in a different way where I didn't see myself. And that's why, you know, like we best friends and we got a business together. You know, I wouldn't thought in a million years that we had, you know, but the best business partner I could ever ask God for. You know what I'm saying? Because we brothers at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's like we really have talks on. I tell him about my personal things and vice versa. And he's always been a guy that's been there and listened and say, "Yo, we're gonna make this. I'm gonna make that. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that." You know, I just follow. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand his leadership.
Yeah, there's been a lineage, like even like the class that you're speaking of, you, Swiss, Ye, Pharrell. That feels like a class of producers that we grew up on and we listened to, and that comes from a lineage pre y'all, right? It's Teddy Riley, the Q-Tips of the world, like the Prince Pauls of the world, like just hip hop producers that have gone global. When you listen to music now, especially in hip hop, like who is the core group that you're saying like, oh, these guys are up next? Let me lend them an ear. Let me give them some advice on how to navigate this space. Like, do you look at the landscape and say like, oh, Metro, that guy's good, or even like a guy like Cash who's killing New York right now? Like, what's your ear for the producers that are making noise now?
All the young producers. I've been with Cash. I've been on Cash line for a minute before. You know what I'm saying? I just know, and the thing what Cash is doing, he loves music. That's what I'm saying. Like when you talk about the business, when you love something, everything finds itself to the right place. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Cash is running New York. He been running it. It's just now that you just hearing it. Like I've been seeing it from the underground with the other artists and other little things, but it just, when you stay consistent on something, that's when it flares up to our generation, when we be like, okay, who is this young guy? Metro always been like that. Metro to me always been like that. 808 Mafia, Weezy out of here, Turbo. I call them guys out of Atlanta the 5 Deadly Venoms. You know what I'm saying? Because them boys is nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like them boys is nasty, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a sound that's very unique, and it just feels good. Same thing with Mustard. Mustard has a bop that's just, he just changed. He took what LA was and made it new. And I think that's just like, you know, that ain't easy to do. Mike Will did something. He broke an artist. He broke Ray Shrummer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Mike Will had a sound. Like he still got a sound. Like these guys, I all like love and look up to, you know, being a creative and being a producer. Like I look up to all up and coming producers because it's looking at their mind and how they think. So when they put the beat together, I'm like, damn, what made them put that snare right there? Because I wouldn't put it right there. So it's like, then you start asking questions like, hey, do you like, what kind of like, do you do crypto? Do you do certain things? Because of like certain ways a person might do something, you'd be like, oh, he got to be into this. He got to be into, because an odd person wouldn't have put that right there. Like that's just different. Like, so I'm gonna ask him about other things in life. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody just don't put the snare right there. You know what I'm saying? So it brings on other conversations. You know what I'm saying? So I love all the new creatives out there. You know, I think they're doing their thing. The only thing that kind of like that kind of like bothers me a little bit. Some stuff do sound like right now music is kind of like, it's kind of dead. Everything do kind of sound alike. It do. I ain't gonna sit there and hold you on that. Like, yeah. That's why I love Cash. Cash got a sound that just like it stands out on its own. It's either you love it or it ain't caught up to you yet. You know what I'm saying? So, and I like that he's just getting better with it. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it ain't really nothing that's like everything sound the same kind of. I mean, I don't know. I could be tripping, but I don't think I am.
As a creator and entrepreneur, how do you stay in love with the craft without letting the politics of the industry take that love away?
That's how I came into the game. The love of the craft. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't love the craft, like, you can't be in the game. You just can't. You can't even talk about a game. You gotta love it. If you lose the love, then all the other stuff is out the window too. So for me, it's like I always fall. I'm just in love with music. If I didn't do music or just be around it, even the talks, sometimes it's like just being in different talks because music is all around us every day. So so it's just being in the vicinity of just music, good music. I have to do that, and then I always have to just make it, just because it's therapy for me. You know what I'm saying? Music was my therapy just growing up, period. Just was, you know what I'm saying? I know I won't go to school. I know I won't go to college, certain things. And I'm just like, okay, life gets real. What's going on? And as a teenager, my parents going through, certain, as a black, family, it's hard times. But then it became good times, right? But during the hard time was the love of music that had that bubble around me where I didn't feel anything, because I always loved what I did, and that God just put that in my spirit. Like, that's just a part of me. When I do music, a lot of things go away. A lot of problems that we think about the everyday person, you got exercising and talking to God.
Well, Tim, man, I want to thank you for your time, bro. I know you're a busy man, but thank you for taking some time out of your day to chop it up with us. And man, looking forward to Versus and everything else you got going on for sure.
Yeah, the return.
All right.
I got one last question though, and I'm upset all in New York. And the versus between Future and Nas, Timbo, who you think wins?
Here you go, man.
I know all of New York mad at me. I don't think Future gets enough credit for being a new GOAT. And I'm a Nas.
No. Future is the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Talk about it.
Future. that boy catalog. You better.
Different.
Come on now. Like I tell everybody, I said Future is the only guy probably can make an album. He could be 60 years old and you still gonna bop to it like he's 20 years old. It's like Future has a formula that you don't get tired of.
Yeah.
You just don't. I don't get tired of it. I love it. I think that man, what he's doing, you're right. He do get the credit because everybody give him that.
Yeah. That's why I said down south they say he is the GOAT. But I don't think Nas is the best one. I think a Wayne Future situation would make more sense.
Wayne not on that level. I love Wayne. Wayne, no.
Yo, Ian, be careful, man.
I'm okay. That
yeah, that's great.
No, be careful, man. Be careful, man.
Come on, y'all.
That's crazy.
That's still Dwayne Carter.
That's crazy.
Better rapper.
That's still Dwayne Carter.
Don't do that to Lil Wayne, man. I don't even know why you brought him up, man.
That's great.
Like Lil Wayne, bro. Like, what are we talking about? That's Wayne Carter, bro.
That's Dwayne Carter.
Easy F,
that's when you talk about these high level people. This is not a conversation you have on camera. This is when you go to the back room.
Oh, my bad.
You know what I'm saying? No, this is when you go to the back room, like like the trade just happened, Luka and stuff. Yeah, like, nobody knew. You know what I'm saying? So it got to be like the high level people we talk about. It's like, we got to go on the drawing board and like write this out.
Yeah.
But it's like could they at that they top tier.
That's top tier.
That's a fact. Well, shout out to, like I said, we actually went to 2 verses. We was front row for the Dipset Locks battle.
That's a fact.
Legendary.
We was there.
And then we was at LA for the
Ray J joint.
No, Ray J wasn't the headliner though. It was
but that's people remember that. Omarion. He brought the watermelon out. I was like, oh man, that was crazy.
That was wild.
Oh, y'all was that one? How was that one?
Wow.
Y'all went to that versus?
We was there. Yeah,
we went to the Dipset one. So
we went to the Dipset. Did y'all catch COVID in that Dipset one?
I did. I ended up in the hospital after that joint.
Yeah, for real.
COVID was definitely in the building.
Yeah.
Full effect.
But it was, I'll tell you this. Everybody watched it. The energy that you saw it wasn't comparable to the in-person experience. That's probably one.
That what I will say. Nothing was compared to you. Right, you 1,000% right about that.
Yeah, we were sitting there like this.
Even if it was popping, I still kept that mask tight.
Yeah. That could have went a couple of ways, man. We were sitting there like this is still all good, right?
No, that was a great night. But
man, because that's the first time people really got outside for real.
Yeah.
So it was a great fellowship night. It was just everything just lined up that night. You know what I'm saying? Is the people really coming outside, and it was a great event. I never felt that. The last time I felt like that was Summer Jam when Jay-Z did it back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a moment. That was a hip hop moment. That's gonna live forever.
Yeah, that was a moment.
Hip hop moment. All right, my brother. Thank you again.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you, bro.
Pete.
Timbo, the king. Shout out to Timbaland, man.
I was tripping on the Wayne comment.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, baby. All right. Well, it's been real, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be watching earnings. We'll see what happens. For sure.
Tweets.
For sure.
Fact. And it's Super Bowl weekend. I know who you got winning. You want to give me a score?
No, I don't do the scores, but we definitely go with Pat Mahomes and
we know that. That's easy
to ride it out. Three-peat, first time ever NFL history
ever.
Shout out to the GOAT. But yeah, man, shout out to Larry, the whole city of New Orleans.
Fact.
They get the Super Bowl. That's gonna be a big vibe. Kendrick Lamar.
Looking forward to that.
He gonna bring out SZA.
Is Wayne gonna come out?
50-50. 50-50.
I hope not.
50-50.
If Wayne comes out,
I just hope not. I'm just saying. I hope
spoke, so it's no problem.
Yeah,
I heard. Yeah. Is that public? Yeah, I heard that too.
Wayne
he said it. He said it.
Okay. He better kill it. So, I mean, they already had the conversation. So I'm sure he asked him. At the very least, I'm sure he asked him. It's just a matter of if Wayne accepted it or not.
I just hope he doesn't come out.
But gotta do it. Gotta do it. New Orleans.
Emergency blackout episode.
6 foot, 7 foot. I mean, I think he's gonna do it. But like I said, I put it at 50-50. But if I had to bet, I say he's gonna do it because why not? It's in New Orleans. They obviously don't have no problem because he spoke to him on the phone.
And Wayne was one of the finalists. They Des Perez, who was head of Rock Nation, she had an interview and said that Wayne was one of the finalists. It came down to him, Kendrick, and another artist, and some guy decided to choose Kendrick. I got you fill in the blanks. Shout out to that guy.
Weezy,
shout to him for sure.
Weezy, baby, man.
Yeah. Ian, who you got, man?
I got Chiefs by 10.
10?
At least.
Damn.
Even with slow Kelsey. We're going to have a conversation about if him growing out that hair like that and my boy aging like spoiled milk, yo. He gets the route.
I don't like to go against Mahomes, but since y'all both picked Kansas City and they beat my team, I can't go against Mahomes. But I would not be surprised if Philly wins and they win by at least 5 or 6. They win by 6. I think a 30-24 score.
Shout out to Philly. No. Okay. Love, but you can't go.
Shout out to my guy Drew. I want your team to win, but the refs, like if you put a shoulder on Mahomes, unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer, 15 yards.
Can't go against.
Should be a good one.
Can't go against the family, but it's been real. It's been real. A blackout Wednesday. We got Roland Martin. 10 o'clock. We're gonna be asking if the Democrats sold out black
for sure.
First question.
First question. Tune in. And then 9 o'clock on Thursday, YouTube Live. How to improve your credit score quickly with Sandra Martin. That's gonna be a really, really, really important episode. EYL 9 o'clock on Thursday. Anything else?
I think we got it all, man. I got February 27th.
Carnegie Hall.
Pull up on us.
In the building. Shout out to Robert Smith.
Have your finest attire laid out. Go get it now. Get it tailored now.
Yeah.
Keynote, get it tailored.
Yeah.
Stop shopping at Macy's.
Sure. Thanks.
For sure.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, y'all. They got me talking crazy.
Macy's dead the company too. Dead man walking.
They dead. Dead.
All right, y'all. It's been real.
Love.